Jay Stoyan joins me here now, host of the Disability Channel. And Jay, we had this federal budget yesterday. We've seen all these emergency supports that have rolled out over the pandemic here. This year has been frightening for all of us, but I can only imagine for people living with disabilities that it has in fact been more than that. It has to have been deeply frustrating.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for this opportunity to appear on your platform. We really appreciate this. It's all about awareness, education, information, and support. So, yes, this last year has been. It's been incredible. It's like we go through a tough time on a daily basis. When I say we, I'm just representing my community. So on a daily basis, we find it tough. So being isolated over the last year and a half has been extremely challenging for our communities.
I know there's no representative example of this, Jay, but walk me through even some of the stories you've heard, a couple of them. What have people in your community been putting up with during this time?
Well, what I can say is we're quite innovative. Like the Disability Channel, I'll just give you a little bit of the tagline. It's by and for persons with disabilities and veterans, showcasing abilities in media. So our whole platform is to create opportunities in the media world and employment workforce. So we've been, I guess, luckily ahead of the game for about 5 years, as we've been online with our programs for about 5 years virtually. So it's a real great way to stay connected, to support our community, to educate them, to share stories, success stories, obstacles, and of course employment. So it's been a really bad situation for the world, but fortunately for our platform, because we are virtual, because a lot of our people, regardless of the pandemic, are not have mobility issues and cannot get around on a daily basis. So the computer is their friend, and it really connects our communities together.
Jay, God knows I don't want to suggest that the pandemic has been a great moment for everyone, but there was a colleague of mine, an old media colleague, who has, in recent years, become disabled due to an accident that has reduced their mobility. And she had said that for the first time in years, she's actually feeling a bit more productive because she's not having to worry about going to in-person meetings anymore. She told me, I've been living a very isolated life as I still work towards my recovery. She had a spinal injury in an accident. And she had said, all of a sudden, it's really easy to get anybody on a Zoom because we're all at home here. And again, I'm not trying to put a silver lining on what has been just a complete tragedy, but I did think that was an interesting insight that honestly wouldn't have occurred to me if she had not brought it up.
Oh, so true, Matt. That's a great point because it is. It is a silver lining. I mean, like you said, it's a terrible situation right now that everybody's going through. But for our community, this is a silver lining. And not only that, Matt, the channel's been created maybe about 5 or 6, 7 years ago. I came from Fox, and I have an illness. I have an illness called familial Mediterranean fever, which is an incurable illness. I was at the Mayo Clinic, sick kids, my whole youth until the doctors had told my parents, take Jay home. We know what he has, but we can't solve it. So the whole world has sort of come full circle because growing up for myself, the only people who really knew I had an illness were my close friends and my family. And you just carry on. But because of the pandemic, it's really put a spotlight on the Disability Channel, on what we do, and people are really taken to it. Like, they're really supporters. I have some great associates and supporters, including the Ontario government, who was our number one supporter, and they have done a terrific job, and we're really happy and glad for the opportunity that we can hopefully improve people's lives.
Is it going to take, and I don't mean in a nebulous moral way, Jay. I mean, very literally here, as we come out of this pandemic, the federal government has shown that it's willing to spend big. The provincial governments are more reluctant, but we will certainly see some more spending in the aftermath. When we take stock of everything that's happened over the last 13 months, what are some of the actual tangible action items that would help your community? And I know that's hard because the disabled community is very broad and diverse. There's a lot of different categories of disability and a lot of people on the spectrum of disability. But what would be some kind of big wins, some big ticket items that we can come out of this and really meaningfully improve the quality of life for your community?
I would say the number one focus would be opportunity. Just give us an opportunity and we will blow you away. Matt, I don't know, I can't tell you how many interns we have placed in corporations over the last year and a half, or more than that, but really over the last year and a half with our accessible media program, which our partners are Mohawk College, Brands for Canada, and the Ontario government. And it's really remarkable that if you just give us an opportunity and you have somebody on your staff who is disabled, and before the pandemic they would come into the office, or you work from home, and it just changes the whole aura of the office. Because if you look at somebody and you meet somebody who's disabled, and let's say they're missing a limb or they have Down syndrome or autism, which we are really big supporters of, and you just look at that person come into the office every day, or you interact online with them, all they just want an opportunity. They're so happy to work. They just want to feel part of society. And I really think that's what through this terrible situation is happening now, because we're getting opportunities through the federal and provincial government. We're getting recognized, we're getting noticed, we're getting supported, and we're creating success stories for people who perhaps would never, ever, ever receive support like this. So we're just over the moon with how the opportunity, and it's just right place, right time for the channel, and we're just going right across Canada. We're in the US already. We have our head office in Milwaukee. We work closely with the NFL, MLSE, Mr. Bronfman, who's a quadriplegic. So it's just really, really nice to be able to do this for society.
Jay, we've only got about a minute left here, but tell me and tell the listeners, where can they go to find out more about the channel?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. So you can check out our website. We're www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. We're also on Your TV with Kojiko in Halton and Milton. They're great supporters of us. You can find us on Roku TV in 28 countries around the world. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Subscribe. We're growing every day. We're really glad for the opportunity, Matt. I want to thank Joe. I want to thank all the team at XM Radio. I really appreciate this opportunity, because you guys are mainstream, and we need to get mainstream, and we are. So thank you so much, Matt.
Jay, I mean, honestly, it sounds like a cliche, but truly our pleasure. It's an important issue, and we're glad to be able to have even a small part in advancing what's a great cause. Thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it today. All the best to you, and stay in touch with us.
Thanks, Matt. You have a great show. Thank you so much, sir.